Episode 56, XB, August 18th, 2024. A homeless guy spits on you when you leave your house. A homeless guy spits on you when you leave your house. An indoor residential wood burner emits PM 2.5 that hits you in the face whenever you leave your house. Is there a similarity to these polluting exchanges between human beings living in close proximity? In Episode 56, XB1, California. RAWSEP View. The key excerpt of this New York Times article is the homeless guy on your doorstep who spits on you when you leave your house and is always spouting from Revelations, maybe the least sympathetic character in the world, so you may not like the idea of paying to house him. But you cannot complain about him being on the street, and also complain about getting him off it. And to those who object to the price of subsidies for homeless housing and subsidies as rebates for heat pumps, from the article, think of emergency rooms, police departments, librarians, park and sanitation workers. The public is already paying a steep tax to step over someone on the street or shrink away from them in a subway rather than house them. RAWSEP View. The public is already paying a steep price to breathe in unnecessary wood-burning smoke whenever they step into their backyard. After this article, RAWSEP will compare and contrast the solutions to homelessness in California and the solutions to PM 2.5 pollution from indoor residential wood burning entering the yards of near neighbors and sickening them. Is the solution in a nutshell paying to house the indoor residential wood burner with a clean energy source of a heat pump that works down to 40 degrees below zero and doubles as an air conditioner? 2. California. RAWSEP Extended View. 3. Michigan. 4. New York. 5. Canada. 6. Israel. 7. China. 8. India. Main content. 1. California. Long Beach and Venice housing for the homeless with notes about San Francisco, Chicago, Illinois, and Houston, Texas. RAWSEP View. The key excerpt of this New York Times article is the homeless guy on your doorstep who spits on you when you leave your house and is always spouting from Revelations, maybe the least sympathetic character in the world, so you may not like the idea of paying to house him. But you cannot complain about him being on the street, and also complain about getting him off it. After this article, RAWSEP will compare and contrast the solutions to homelessness in California and the solutions to PM 2.5 pollution from indoor residential wood burning entering the yards of near neighbors and sickening them. RAWSEP View. The public is already paying a steep price to breathe in unnecessary wood-burning smoke whenever they step into their backyard. After this article, RAWSEP will compare and contrast the solutions to homelessness in California and the solutions to PM 2.5 pollution from indoor residential wood burning entering the yards of near neighbors and sickening them. Is the solution in a nutshell paying to house the indoor residential wood burner with a clean energy source of a heat pump that works down to 40 degrees below zero and doubles as an air conditioner? From the article title, As California Clears Homeless Camps, 2 projects point a way forward. While LA County grapples with homelessness, new housing projects in Long Beach and Venice signal the solutions and challenges ahead. 26.2 is a new supportive housing development on the Pacific Coast Highway in Long Beach, California. A writer for the New York Times recently visited new permanent supportive housing developments in Long Beach and Venice, California. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. August 17, 2024. RAWSEP View. This article is primarily about 2 apartment home units for the homeless, the first in Long Beach, California, and the second in Venice, California. 1A Long Beach, California. 26.2 and Weingart Tower. From the article, raised on stilts, it is home to 76 people who were recently sleeping on the streets of Long Beach. The building, called 26.2, is a new permanent supportive housing development along the Pacific Coast Highway. The name 26.2, including 26, is a reference to the year 2026, when hopefully the Long Beach homeless problem could be solved. 26 is not an address. Solving homelessness by 2026 is a marathon, not a sprint. After the Supreme Court gave the green light in June to cities that elect to arrest people for sleeping outdoors, California Governor Gavin Newsom ordered that thousands of homeless encampments across California be dismantled. He made a pit stop the other day to help state workers clear a homeless encampment from an underpass below Interstate 10 in Los Angeles. Many Californians have had enough. Officials are registering voter frustration and Republicans are weaponizing the issue before November. With 26.2, Long Beach welcomed the project, which cost $28 million. 26.2 is at its tallest along the highway where the front of the building skirts an earthquake fault line. The building steps down in height as it turns toward the houses nearby. Long Beach plans to densify this highway, adding more subsidized housing and mixed use. Long Beach is full of wide avenues with empty lots and low-rise buildings. In 2016, the Wilshire Corridor was reimagined by an architect with its 16-mile boulevard built up to accommodate 1 million more people, a hypothetical change affecting less than 1% of Los Angeles County. But California spent decades empowering NIMBY, not in my backyards, redlining districts, promoting sprawl, and zoning for single-family housing. For years, it constrained authorities trying to move mentally ill people off the streets while slow-walking housing development. More recently, under Governor Newsom and his predecessor Jerry Brown, the state has been attempting to undo that by directing hundreds of millions of dollars toward homelessness initiatives. Los Angeles has been pursuing Mayor Karen Bass's Inside Safe agenda, which converts motel rooms into temporary shelters. The unsheltered number is down across Los Angeles County 10% from a year ago, according to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. And city voters approved a $1.2 billion bond measure in 2016 to fund housing for homeless and at-risk Angelenos that helped pay for Weingart Tower, a new subsidized housing project on Skid Row. With its 278 apartments, it will concentrate poverty in what's already LA's poorest neighborhood. But it also promises to house several hundred of the city's more than 70,000 homeless residents. Its cost of $165 million pencils out to roughly $600,000 per unit, the going rate for new construction now. More than a few local voters have second thoughts because of the slow pace of progress and its price tag. A spokesperson for Community Solutions, a national homeless aid organization, says people hear the price of housing a person and do not account for the burden they are already bearing. Think of emergency rooms, police departments, librarians, park and sanitation workers. The public is already paying a steep tax to step over someone on the street or shrink away from them in a subway rather than house them. 26.2 fits into a typical Southern California neighborhood. The New York Times writer visited 26.2 in Long Beach and another new permanent supportive housing development in Venice, California. 1B Venice, California. Rose Apartments in Venice Del. Providing dignity. Rose Apartments in Venice, California face NIMBY, not in my backyard opposition. Rose Apartments opened not long ago. It is a $21 million project. Rose Apartments is a small-scale project like 26.2 that weaves thoughtfully into a complex streetscape lending dignity to formerly homeless residents. Rose Apartments is among the few ground-up, subsidized housing developments constructed in Venice in decades. At Rose Apartments, the spokesperson who runs Venice Community Housing, which built it, filled the New York Times writer in on a NIMBY, not in my backyard movement against the housing. Rose houses 35 young adults and chronically homeless older residents on 3 floors above a storefront across from a Whole Foods parking lot. The process took 5 years, even though Venice Community Housing owned the land, and the project did not require any rezoning. Now Venice Community Housing is turning to Venice Del, a proposed 140-unit project for low-income and formerly homeless tenants on a city-owned parking lot. The city awarded the site to Venice Community Housing. It is opposed by the city council member representing Venice, a woman who campaigned in 2022 on a vow to rid the neighborhood of encampments. Some large ones have been dismantled since she and Mayor Rebates took office, including one outside the Rose Apartments. The Venice City Council member believes the city should now prioritize hospital beds because so many of those remaining on the streets have drug and mental health issues. But the solution also cannot be a choice between clearing encampments and building housing. It needs to include both. 1 CA reference to Cabrini Green in Chicago. NIMBY not in my backyards in Venice fought homeless apartment housing tooth and nail, calling it the Cabrini Green of the west side of Los Angeles. A reference to the troubled 1900s mid-century Chicago public housing project for 15,000 residents. 1D San Francisco, California. Mayor London Breed of San Francisco, facing a tough election, instructed police officers in San Francisco to cite homeless campers who refuse shelter with the threat of jail. Where those who do not accept help should go is not clear. Mayor Breed is offering free one-way bus tickets out of town. California does not guarantee a right to housing or shelters, both of which are in short supply. Study after study shows that just arresting people or shooing them along does not work. Neither have progressive legal efforts championing the right to sleep in the streets. Mayor Breed's crackdown described the 16th attempt this year to clear an encampment outside a local Department of Motor Vehicles office. The encampment simply shifted to a different corner. What works is housing. That is what all the evidence and common sense suggests. 1E Houston, Texas. A woman was mayor in Houston when that city started to move thousands of people off the streets straight into apartments. There was similar pushback from taxpayers there who objected to the costs and even the idea. 2 California. RAWSEP Extended View. The key excerpt of this New York Times article is the homeless guy on your doorstep who spits on you when you leave your house and is always spouting from Revelations, may be the least sympathetic character in the world, so you may not like the idea of paying to house him. But you cannot complain about him being on the street and also complain about getting him off it. RAWSEP View. The public is already paying a steep price to breathe in unnecessary wood-burning smoke whenever they step into their backyard. After this New York Times article, RAWSEP compares and contrasts the solutions to homelessness in California and the solutions to PM 2.5 pollution from indoor residential wood burning entering the yards of near neighbors and sickening them. Is the solution in a nutshell paying to house the indoor residential wood burner with a clean energy source of a heat pump that works down to 40 degrees below zero and doubles as an air conditioner? RAWSEP View. There is a similarity between being homeless and having an indoor residential wood burning home nearby which emits air pollution that sickens near neighbors. The air pollution that affects near neighbors is similar if the homeless person also sets wood fires on the street. In the case of the homeless, other additional forms of pollution may include spitting on near neighbors because a hostile homeless person is living on the near neighbor doorstep. Similar problems for near neighbors. 2A Measurable air pollution. Air pollution from homeless wood-burning fires on the street affects near neighbors of the homeless in exactly the same way as air pollution from indoor residential wood-burning fires affects near neighbors of those who are housed but housed in pollution-emitting indoor wood-burning houses. 2B Possible mental illness. The homeless person who doesn't accept housing may appear and may actually be mentally ill because that homeless person behaves in a way that threatens the health of near neighbors, although the homeless person has been given or has been offered a free and better alternative way to live in an apartment. The indoor residential wood-burning person who doesn't accept a virtually free with rebate clean energy source for his house in the form of a heat pump may appear and may actually be mentally ill because that indoor residential wood-burning person behaves in a way that threatens the health of near neighbors, although the indoor residential wood-burning person has been offered or been given a virtually free with rebate heat pump that works down to 40 degrees below zero and doubles as an air conditioner, creating a better alternative way to live. 2C Housing for the homeless is expensive and takes up land space in California that could be used for other things. NIMBY not in my backyard groups fight to keep homeless apartments from being built, although apparently homeless people are already in these backyards, only on the street, not in apartments where conditions for the homeless and their near neighbors can be more healthy. The cost of healthcare for the homeless and for near neighbors of the homeless can be reduced by providing housing to the homeless. 2D Money. People who burn wood indoors residentially often claim they are indigent and cannot afford to use any other method of home heating other than wood burning, although apparently indoor residential wood burners often burn wood primarily because it is falsely advertised as clean energy, or because indoor residential wood burners are unconcerned with the threat to human health for themselves as well as their near neighbors from indoor residential wood burning. The cost of healthcare for the indoor residential wood burner and for near neighbors of the indoor residential wood burner can be reduced by offering clean energy heat pump rebates to the current indigent or low-income indoor residential wood burner. Similar solutions for near neighbors. 2E Building housing in California that is economical but provides cleaner environments than life on the street. 2F for current indoor residential wood burners whose PM 2.5 emissions sicken near neighbors, there are offers of rebates of up to $8,000 in 2024 based on a sliding income scale for heat pumps that work down to 40 degrees below zero and also work as air conditioners. In many cases, $8,000 or much less will cover the entire cost of a home heat pump and its installation. Heat pump rebates have been available since May 31, 2024 in New York states and will be available by September 2024 in Wisconsin. Many other states will follow with their own clean energy heat pump rebates in 2024. 2G providing clean energy heat pumps to indigent indoor residential wood burners will lend them the dignity which the indoor residential wood burners have squandered by creating unnecessary air pollution in a residential setting while they share airspace with their near neighbors and with their neighborhood, as well as incrementally contributing to hastening climate change around the world with current polluting indoor residential wood burning. 3. Michigan, Detroit. Alerts the Weather Network reduce or eliminate activities that contribute to air pollution such as outdoor burning and use of residential wood-burning devices. 4. New York. Governor Hochul urges New Yorkers to take appropriate precautions as smoke from NY.gov particulate matter PM 2.5 tiny solid particles or liquid droplets in the air that are 2.5 microns or less in diameter. Fish and Wildlife Show 4B, New York, Albany. DEC wildfire smoke sticks around in Albany area for weekend times. Union particulate matter, or PM 2.5, a type of air pollution made up of fine particles 2.5 micrometers or less in diameter and emitted by fires was 5. Canada, Alberta. Fort McMurray Forest Area Wildfire Update August 16, 2024. The Alberta Wildfire Blog. Government of Alberta safe wood campfires backyard fire. We expect smoke to linger for the next few days. Check out Fire Smoke website to see the smoke forecast. 6. Israel. Israeli settlers torch West Bank village U2 burning cars and killing at least one person. CCTV footage showed cars, traditional lavash bread, baking bread on a barrel over wood fire. 7. China steps up support to 5 Mekong nations. NHK World Japan News and HK.or.jp, and they say measures will be taken to prevent airborne pollutants known as PM 2.5 from crossing borders. Wang told reporters that China will aid can India have a pollution-free future. Outlook India. These are caused by inhaling ultra-fine particulate matter PM 2.5 at levels that are much higher than the 24-hour limit set by the World Health